My name is Daniel. I'm a South African student. As explained, I'm doing a virtual online semester at Reutlingen, and I actually come from the University of Stellenbosch, which is in South Africa, close to Cape Town. I don't know how many of you are familiar with Cape Town. It's pretty south, and so the structure of what I'm going to just give you today is very focused on my experience as a student at Stellenbosch, to try and give you an idea of what it's like to study there. Not necessarily focused on what you'll be studying, obviously, because I'm just a fellow student. So I'd like to start with a quick introduction and more or less like just the location and where Stellenbosch is located. Then also just a few general activities and stuff you can do in Stellenbosch that are quite popular with the students. And also I'd like to get into student life particularly, and then also a bit more about the university and the engineering faculty specifically thereafter. So Stellenbosch, as I mentioned, is pretty close to Cape Town. I see the map on the top right there is pretty small, but if you can see my cursor, Cape Town's on the left there, and Stellenbosch is about 50 kilometers just to the right, so it's relatively close. And it's located in the wine region of the Western Cape of South Africa. And yeah, so Stellenbosch is known for its wine. It's a very rich area for producing wine. And as well, the town is known for its restored Cape Dutch type of architecture. And you can see this in many very old buildings that have been restored around town. Just two examples. The one on the left, the bottom left, that photo is our like the main church in town, and on the right bottom is the old main building of the university. So it's being used for, I think, law or something now, but it used to be the main building. Yeah, so hopping right into just a few activities that we like to do in Stellenbosch. Like food and wine is really popular with tourists, and the industry is really booming around that. There's a few really nice restaurants around town and close to campus. So our students find ourselves spending a lot of time eating out. It is a bit expensive on a student budget, but it is very nice. And yeah, there's a lot of wine farms around town, and you do have to drive there, but it is worth it if you can organize a lift for yourself. You can do a wine tasting or something like that. Yeah, and just a few points on entertainment around town. Stellenbosch used to be pretty popular for live performances. There's a lot of outside venues, and our winters don't even get that cold. So right through the year, you get live performances and concerts and stuff like that, which is really nice to attend. Obviously, coronavirus has made it a bit different, but hopefully we'll return to our old ways pretty soon. Yeah, there's one thing worth mentioning is our students' movie cinema, which is on campus. It's pretty central on campus. And what makes this really nice is it's a bit different from other cinemas. Usually, I guess it's the same in Germany, but usually a cinema will like to show the newest movies, and then after a few weeks after they've showed the new movies, they take them out. But this pulp movie cinema focuses on like more older movies, and they play like what I don't know, the people that like to go watch there consider those movies to be really good. So they don't focus on the hype, if I can put it like that. So it's a really cool niche little movie cinema that's located in one of the student centrums. But I'll get to that in a few minutes. And obviously, there's a lot of pubs around town that are popular with the students, and some of them obviously more expensive than others, but there are a few places where you can get a beer for pretty cheap. So that's quite nice. And yeah, one of my favorite parts of Stellenbosch is by far the nature and opportunities to play sport. So I'm going to get to the Jonkershoek bit now, but on the bottom there, the sport complex in Stellenbosch is called Kutsenburg, and it's located right in between the middle of campus and the mountain. So it's nested in between those two. So it's quite nice. You get the sport fields, and then right next to that you have the mountain that's full of very popular mountain bike trails, and a lot of people go running there and things like that. It's a really nice. It's like a community almost. Yeah, everyone's always being very friendly and stuff. when you're running past people, for example. And the university's sport teams, or they call the Marties, something like Marties rugby team or Marties soccer team. So we're the Marties, that's the nickname. And then the top part, there's a Jongershoek Nature Reserve. It's located just about 10 kilometers north of Stellenbosch. So it's not in Stellenbosch per se, but it's really close. And if you go there, you get even nicer. It's world-class mountain biking trails and very nice hiking routes. There's a few waterfalls that you can hike past, and that's really popular with the students also. You pay a small fee just to go inside, and then you can basically spend the whole day. It's really quite popular. So, getting a bit into student life more, and on campus specifically. So the photos I've included, this is random. It's from my experience. I've been lucky enough to be in one of the bigger student residences for 3 years. And as you can see, there's 12 ladies residences and 9 men's residences, with varying from even less than 200, like 100 to maybe 500 at the most people per residence. So they can get quite big. And they have mostly double rooms, and they are proper like amenities like Wi-Fi and this space to make lunch, and where you can do your own cooking and things like that. So it's not like an apartment, but you do have all the things you need, and it's really quite a social experience also. So these residences have a lot of inter-residence events, which are highlights of the year by far, and they're quite popular for even people that aren't attending. Everyone's just supporting them the whole time. So there are events around sport and things like a cappella singing also. The singing a cappella has been, last year was a very exciting tournament. We had a lot of talent between different residences. So it was, I myself, I'm not a singer, but it was really, really great to watch actually. And it's quite competitive also. Then there also are things like beer pong, darts, and bar sports that they compete against each other in. And in general, it's just a very involved student community. So even compared to other universities in South Africa, the student culture in Stellenbosch is very attractive for that reason, because it's so involved, and it's a lot of things to partake in. I think the photo on the right top is our rugby team that won a year or two ago, and I don't know, the one at the bottom was just someone supporting. I think it was probably beer pong or something, but it gives you an idea of the events that happen in between our studies. And getting more to the studies, we have a library and a study center that both of them are very popular to go study in, and any student on campus is welcome to go there. I think at the moment the numbers are limited due to COVID, so you have to book, I think, but nevertheless, it's a really nice venue. It's super quiet and it's massive, so there's a lot of space to study. We often spend entire days there, and then we'd go there in the morning and then go back to residence in the evening, just before exams, the hectic times. And the NLC, that's the second heading. That's our student centrum. That's like where we can get takeaways or coffee. And in the photo over here, you can't really see it, but I didn't even mention our library is underground, so you can't see the library either. It's underneath where these people are walking. And the NLC, which is the student center, is just in the background there, so it's pretty close. We used to start the day off, get a coffee in the NLC, and then your group of friends have a coffee, and then you go study, and then you plan your next study break together to go get a new coffee, and that's basically the cycle. And it's quite a fun way to be productive. So that's basically how we do it there. So moving to the engineering faculty, or rather first just mentioning all the other faculties. Stellenbosch has a few different campuses, but the one in Stellenbosch itself is the main campus, and this one has 5 different faculties. I'm not going to read them all. You can see them on the screen. I guess you are mostly interested in the engineering one, and I'll just say a word or two about that. So the engineering faculty has 4 different main departments, but every department has subdivisions also, but I'm not going to get into that too much right now. I'm going to give links at the end where you can get more information about that. So there's a civil department, electrical and electronic engineering department, mechanical and mechatronic. I'm actually studying at the mechatronic department at the moment. And then there's also a chemical engineering division. And it's one thing about the engineering faculty is, as you can see in the picture, it's actually quite big. It's really state of the art. It's quite nice. There's always the equipment you need, and there's a lot of facilities to be used. One other thing is that it's a bit further away from the center of campus than some of the other faculties. So it's only like 300 meters, but I mean, the rest of campus is so centered that people often joke around and say that the engineering faculty is like its own faculty on its own on the side there, but it's really not far away. But it does feel like that sometimes. And students are lazy, so they don't like walking even just that 300 meters to get a coffee or something. Luckily for them, I think in the last year or two, maybe it was 2 years ago, this new coffee shop or restaurant opened in the faculty called Chalkboard. And it's really extremely popular with the engineering students. And you really have to plan when you want to go there, because you might be standing in a queue for 30 minutes. But it's really nice. It's a little gym that we've gained in the last 2 years. So that's great. You can spend your whole day at the faculty also without needing to walk to campus. So that's just a little quick overview of the engineering faculty in particular. And I've added a few links that I'm sure you'll be able to get afterwards. I don't know who I'll send the presentation to someone, and then they'll distribute it.
We will not only give the recordings, but also the files will be available on our website. Yeah.
And that's just the top two, or just one of the two short YouTube videos that just give you a little overview of Stellenbosch as well. And the rest are publications of the international office and a few media links and so forth. Yeah, if there are any questions, you're welcome to ask. I don't know. I hope I've covered like the essentials, as I say, just from a student's perspective. And I hope it's been interesting. But if you have questions, you're welcome to ask. Otherwise, if we still have time, I might be able to play one or two of these videos. They're just 1.5 minutes or 2 minutes long.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
Go for it.
Okay, and then maybe after that, if there's questions, but otherwise it's fine.
How long will the video take to show?
There are 2 of them, but in total, not more than 5 minutes.
Okay, just show some interesting parts of it. 5 minutes is too long.
I think this one is short. I'll open the short one.
Okay. And in the meanwhile, I will put my information to you about the Stellenbosch. So all studies are given in English, and you not only are able to take classes, but also can do lab courses for bachelor and master students. But also you can do your thesis there at Stellenbosch. But in terms of thesis, you have to prepare in advance the topics, so we can work together with the colleagues of mine at Stellenbosch to identify your thesis topics. The B2 level of English needs to be documented for your application at Stellenbosch, for sure, to be able to follow up the classes, to follow up the research topics in the labs. And be sure that you apply also for this destination, 15th of September. Summer semester starts February until June. Winter semester starts mid of July to the end of November. So that's the short wrap up from my side. Go ahead.
All right.
Hey.
I don't think there's much sound. I'll just put the sound off.
Hey,
This town
stop
is also
Corona
known
time.
for oak trees.
Distancing.
There are these oak trees littered everywhere. It's like you just see oak trees where you look.
Mhm. Yeah, your campus is really wonderful.
So obviously rugby is very big in South Africa. So that's our
Yeah,
main
sure.
sport, especially for supporting at the university. Yeah, just very quick.
Yeah, thank you.
Not very
That's
informative, but there we go.
some impressions. Joe, so drop your questions, please. German or English, don't mind. Ihre Fragen bitte.
I have a question about the student residences. Is everybody of the students living there, or are there also other possibilities for an apartment or something like that?
There's a lot of other opportunities. Actually, it's the minority that get to live in the residences, and especially I'm not sure how it works exactly for exchange students, but for the one that I was in, you have to be there from the first year. So it's difficult to get in if you're older than what's it like 19 years old. But there are definitely other options and senior residences, but I'm not very familiar with them. But there's a link on that second last slide that links to the international office, and that's a good place to look. And you also find email addresses there, so you can ask them specifically about that.
You get very deep help and comprehensive set of information, Mrs. Koch, in terms of traveling there in advance. We prepare together with you your residence. So there are countless possibilities. And Stellenbosch is a student city, so it is a very safe city from my point of view.
Okay, thank you.
So, draw further questions, please. During your thinking what you should ask, I will prepare some pictures I have taken when I have been there. Do you see my my screen?
Yes.
With all the pictures?
Yeah, they're very small, but I can see the icons.
Yeah. So here you can also see my mouse.
Yes.
So here is the Stellenbosch University, and here is the Cape of Good Hope. So you can, if you have time, you can travel from Kapstadt to Cape Town. So you have to spend some time in this region. It is really delicious. And in terms of Stellenbosch itself, let's go to the campus. And the campus has is separated by one street. And if you stand on that street, on that bridge, you see left-hand hand, right-hand side, the campus itself. And there is also, one moment, you talked about your library, and your library is just here, so under the ground here. So, but it's not time of my talk time, it's your question time. I apologize. Ihre Fragen bitte.
I actually have another question. So sure. In Germany, or especially on the university in Reutlingen, the students are there for like 3 or 4 months. And then after that, there's no university for like a month in winter or 2 months in the summer. And then the students are usually, or sometimes they are in town, but sometimes they are also not. So it's not really common to like just be there all the time. But how does it work in South Africa? Are there the students there all the time, or is it more like, yeah, sometimes they're there and sometimes they're not?
I think it's very similar to what you explained. We have, it's normally like 3 or 4 weeks of holiday over June, July. And then again, holiday from December, which is our biggest holiday. That's in the summer. That's almost a month and a half, I think. But the point is, when students are on holiday, the town does get a bit less busy. And I also live in Stellenbosch, so I noticed that firsthand. As soon as it gets holiday, the people leave for other places, go on holiday to like closer to the sea, for example. So I think it's more or less the same as you explained. I'm not sure. I hope I understood your question correct, but yeah.
Yeah, I think so. You did. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone in here is a surfer or like surfing by any chance. I don't know if it's how popular it is in Germany, but there is 1 or 2 very nice spots within an hour's drive from Stellenbosch also. Obviously Stellenbosch isn't right next to the sea, but it isn't too far to drive. There's quite a few of my friends are very into it. I'm still learning, but it's going slow.
I'm actually also a surfer, but is there maybe like a club or something where you can, or is there a surfer community?
Yeah, there is. Well, so every more or less like surf spot has its own community, especially the closest one. It depends on what kind of surf shops they have nearby, because everyone like gathers there, for example. But the university does also have a surfing team, but I know that for a fact, but I haven't had much to do with them, so I can't tell you too much, unfortunately. But I do know they have a surfing team, so you could maybe try and find out something about that if you want. And I don't know if there's golfers is golf big in Germany? Because it's quite popular here also. I didn't mention that. There's a very nice golf course within 5 kilometers from campus. So.
But I think more that the students coming over to you, to South Africa, surfing will be very attractive. So pick up a board, go towards the coast, travel some days, or after your term, some weeks, and relax. Further questions, please. So I think also buying a car is not a big hurdle, or what do you think, Mr. Möller?
Buying a car or renting a car? Well, buying a car, both of them are pretty simple. The second-hand market is quite big in South Africa, so but I don't know. As a student, I don't know what the best option is. Or what'll work out cheaper. If it's better to rent one, maybe. But also in Stellenbosch itself, you definitely don't need a car for most things. Parking is also a bit of a problem most times because it's so busy when the students are here. You often can't get parking where you want to go. So it'll be easier just to maybe ride a bicycle or walk to where you want to be. Most things are very in close proximity, so it's not at all an issue. And it's often nice to walk because students walk in groups to class, for example, and it's more fun than driving on your own. So a lot of people just choose to walk. But obviously, if you want to explore South Africa a bit more, you can maybe rent a car for a month or something in your off time.
Okay, great. That was very important. Thank you. So, Mr. Möller, so you have given us a very good picture about Stellenbosch. I appreciate your time.